Well, welcome everyone. We are so happy to have you all here today. We are from the admissions department here at CU Denver. So I'm the admissions visit coordinator. We've got an admissions counselor as well as one of our amazing student ambassadors here as well. So we are here to answer all your questions, anything that you have. We are here to support you and help you along your educational journey. We did receive a few questions previously. We've got a question about test scores and how that will look. Alex, can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so it's definitely something that's in the works. So right now there's actually a bill being passed that is kind of waiting for Governor Polis's signature on kind of what test scores will look like for the class of 2021. So I suspect that information is going to be going out here in the next month. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. It's definitely something that, as admissions, we know a lot of you were not able to take an SAT or ACT test score because of the COVID pandemic. So just know that, we are working as a university as well as just kind of all of the public universities in the state to try and amend kind of our test policy. So like I said, right now it is in, going through the House and the Senate to be passed for what it would look like for the different schools to whether they have to require test scores or not. So kind of be on the lookout for that. That information will be coming soon on whether or not we will require it.
Thank you for that, Alex. Another thing that's pretty unique about CU Denver is we do look at our students from a holistically based perspective. So we do give you guys the option of submitting a resume and 2 letters of recommendation as well to kind of give us a better picture about who you are aside from those test scores and GPA. So I highly recommend that you submit that optional material as well. We do have another question we received. This question is about our club sports and specifically lacrosse. Tessa, do you mind sharing a little bit? How do you think that will look this fall?
Yeah, so as most everything is this fall, it's a little up in the air. They're still making a lot of big decisions. Our wellness center is going to be open this fall with some new guidelines, new rules, and those will all be announced soon. We do have a lacrosse team. I think they're actually very well ranked. They do pretty good. I know a couple boys on the team. And we have a ton of other club sports as well, volleyball, soccer, just really anything you can think of. And all that information can be found through the Wellness Center. So if you just search CU Denver Wellness Center, you'll be able to find a lot of different resources about the different sporting and club teams that we offer.
Thank you so much for that information. We do have another question. It says, how will the University of Colorado Denver build student and student-teacher relationships during online classes?
Yeah, and so I know that Tessa, you can probably speak to a little bit of this kind of with your experience from the spring, but actually over this summer, a lot of our faculty, they're actually going through trainings to make sure that they kind of understand student needs, as they're going to be online, as, all these things are changing. So a lot of our faculty are going to be going through those trainings to make sure that every single student is still getting that exceptional, academic experience that they would get in person. And so really just trying to make sure that every single student feels heard, that professors are still having office hours, they're still having chances for students to meet with them one-on-one, and that in classes, students are still, getting that community, even though you might not all physically be in the same place, just really kind of doing, those engaging questions, making sure that discussions, maybe leaving open the class a little bit longer so students can kind of talk, after the class is over, and really just trying to develop that sense of community, even if you're not, actually in the same space.
Yeah, and I can truly attest to that. In the spring, everything was just happening very quickly, and the professors had to adjust very quickly, and all of mine did a superb job. They were all very understanding of where their students were coming from, stress, just like confusion, general, just like what's going on. But they did a great job of making sure that we were still getting the same education that we were when we were in person, as well as making sure that everybody was doing okay. I just know in every single one of my classes, all my professors ended each class with, if you need anything, reach out. I understand this is a difficult time. So they're all very well-trained, and they're all great people just wanting to get you the best education possible.
I agree completely with what both of you shared. And from my own experience as a student at CU Denver, I was really impressed with how we were able to make that transition happen and just the quality of those classes, even in an online format. But thankfully, this is nothing new to CU Denver having online classes. We've offered flexible classes for a really long time. And so a lot of our classes were already, already set up for an online format, but our professors have really gone above and beyond. I remember playing a Jeopardy game in one of my classes this last semester as a test preparation online where we had little teams and everything. So I will definitely say our professors are amazing. They're creative and they go above and beyond to really create an amazing experience for our students. So, what is your favorite thing about CU Denver? Alex, do you want to start us off?
I mean, I would say for sure, definitely the location of CU Denver is amazing. I mean, being right in the heart of downtown is something that not many schools, have the opportunity, especially if you want to be in Colorado. This is really the one of the few options to have kind of that urban experience and just everything that comes with it, just all the access to everything, as well as just opportunities for internships. And I think too, just the community of CU Denver, it's a very diverse student body. And we have students, who are coming right out of high school, as well as, students who are 50 years old, coming back to school. And so it's really cool just to have all of these stories, all these different people at different points of life, really just kind of coming together and, being at CU Denver and kind of picking CU Denver because of just, the academic excellence, as well as just the quality they know that they're getting, but also having some fun along the way too. So I think CU Denver is just kind of the perfect place just for, really anyone, no matter what point of life you're at, and kind of there's just, 160 different degree options. It really does just have a little something for everybody. So
I totally agree. I think CU Denver is super unique in multiple different ways. And something that the pandemic really made me look at and made me appreciate in CU Denver is the communication and the treatment of the students. A lot of these universities, they just kind of went dark on their students and left a lot of confusion, a lot of stuff up in the air. And CU Denver left nothing to be unknown. They were very communicative and they are doing everything they possibly can to make sure that we're getting back to school, but in a safe manner. And so I just really appreciate all the care and just hard work that I can tell is going into my education as well as my safety.
Thank you. I would have to say the diversity. I absolutely love how diverse our campus is. I know when I was selecting colleges, I was accepted to multiple within the state. And once I came to the CU Denver campus, I just fell in love because everyone is coming from all these different walks of life. And when you're in a classroom with all these different perspectives, it's so important for us to be able to solve these big, complex social complex issues that we're up against. By having all of these different thought processes and perspectives, we really are able to come up with these innovative and amazing solutions. We've got another question coming in, and it says, does CU Denver offer GMAT testing? A student is having trouble finding a testing facility during this pandemic. Alex, do you have any updates about that?
I am actually not aware that we do offer that. I mean, our campus right now is closed. So if they're trying to find a testing facility, then unfortunately CU Denver would not be an option for them because right now we're putting in place a lot of different procedures and really kind of it's only essential personnel that are still allowed on campus. So if they're wanting to find a GMAT, testing location right now, then unfortunately CU Denver would not be an option for them. I would definitely try. I'm sure there has got to be a few options that might be open for them, but at this point, I don't believe CU Denver would be an option.
Yeah. Despite these wonderful backgrounds that you see, we are still all not on campus right now and broadcasting from our homes. So thank you guys for your understanding as we all are still continuing to work remotely at this time. We've got another question coming in. This one's for you, Tessa. What is the biggest barrier you faced in your educational journey and how did you overcome it?
My biggest barrier was definitely myself. And I think that a lot of first-time students, like freshman students, will get that way because it is a really large transition and it can be scary. You're probably moving away from home, maybe coming from out of state. And I definitely just let that get into my head a lot. I felt very insecure in my major. I felt that it wasn't right for me, even though like music business is the only thing I've wanted to do for such a long time. So the way I overcame that was definitely having a really strong support system, which I'm really grateful for. My family was so helpful, as well as the resources on campus. Just like I was talking about earlier, just all the different student clubs and organizations really helped me to find my place at CU Denver, which allowed me to gain some confidence and make some new friends and just settle in. And it is going to be, there is a transition period, and you just have to give yourself grace while you're going through that. But once I got over that, I was having the time of my life before we had to go home.
That's great advice. Thank you for that, Tessa. For those of you who are just joining our live stream, we are CU Denver Admissions here for undergraduate admissions. My name is Marcia Maxon, and I am the admissions visit coordinator. We've got Alex Slaughter, who is our amazing admissions counselor, as well as Tessa Barker, a student ambassador here at CU Denver. So we are here to answer any questions you have and to support you on this journey. We do have another question. It says, what are some cool clubs students should look into? So maybe we could each share some clubs that we know about at CU Denver. I know, Tessa, that you're involved in quite a few, so why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so currently I'm involved in two pretty heavily. I'm in the Women in Business Club, which is open to men and women. It's just all about introducing equality into the workplace, especially in business settings, and just really creating equality. And it's just that's one of the places that really helped me find my place, is just a lot of strong women who just want to support each other. So that one is super special and important to me. And then another one is the Music Industry Student Association, and that lines up with my major, which is super helpful. And I highly recommend to look into a club that fits in with your major, because there's a lot of networking opportunities, and you'll meet people who have the same major, and can help each other out. So I like those ones a lot.
Those sound amazing. Alex, I know that you got to meet with some of our amazing student clubs. Would you share some of them that are maybe a little out there?
Yeah, so when I first started at CU Denver, I wanted to kind of learn about some of the kind of unique things that CU Denver had to offer. A few of the ones that kind of stuck out to me, one of them is the Paranormal Investigation Club. So if you're into like Ghostbusters or like looking for buildings that are haunted, then that is a great option for you. But really the clubs, they kind of range the gamut. There are faith-based clubs. There's, almost every single major has a club. Like it really is like whatever you're interested in. There's a club. We have kind of like Tessa mentioned with club sports a little bit earlier. We also have an adventure desk that's part of the wellness center. So if you're interested in hiking or skiing, they do a lot of trips, that they plan that are at discounted rates for students, which are a lot of fun. But definitely join a club. Like at CU Denver, we have over 120 different clubs. And even if one of those 120, isn't something of interest to you, you can start your own. It's really easy to start your own club at CU Denver too. But definitely get involved, because it really does, you get to meet like-minded people. Like as I said, she probably wouldn't have met, some of those people who kind of have those same passions and kind of same outlook, as she does. And so really joining a club, especially in college, there'll be no easier way in life to meet people than when you're in college joining clubs. So definitely join a club, find some of those fun ones. I know there's another club, they actually have tea, and they're like a book club. So they'll meet once a week over tea, and they read a different book each week. So really, like I said, the gamut is very large. So just find something that interests you and just join at least one club.
Very much. I know I had the privilege of participating in quite a few clubs during my academic time at CU Denver, and even created a club myself, and it was an easy process. We do have a lot of cultural clubs, which I think are really important to mention, so you can find that sense of identity here at CU Denver. We also have clubs for like first generation students, and I was part of that category. And so it was really important for me to connect with students who were having similar experiences and even barriers in their educational journey. And so I was a part of TRIO SSS, our student support services, and I started my own student club called Prisoners Links to Literature, where we actually took like alternative service breaks and were able to get literature in the hands of different correctional institutions across the US, which is really exciting. So I think there's so many different clubs to choose from here, and there's no reason to not get involved with any of them. We've got another question coming in. what are your thoughts about socializing with social distance barriers for those who live on campus? Tessa, I'll have you start us off with this one.
Yeah, so living on campus, you have one option, and that is links crossing. And I know that they are taking some precautions in this upcoming semester. And if you have questions about that, you can reach out to them on the website or reach out to the assistant director, Tina Carroll. She's great. They have a ton of answers. And I know that they are taking precautions for safety while still allowing you guys to have that college dorm experience.
I'd agree. And I will say that their entire team over at Housing and Dining is just really, really thoughtful about our students. And they've always created these amazing socializing events such as barbecues and get to know each other's. And although we all recognize that fall will look differently, I know that they are actively planning different activities for our students to be able to have that socialization. Alex, do you have any tips for our students for socializing while safely socially distancing?
I mean, it's definitely something that, it's a new world, and we're all trying to kind of find our ways. And kind of like Tessa mentioned, like Tina and Housing, like they're definitely amazing. And I'm sure that they're going to put in some programming, with social distancing. But I would say, just trying to find the things that you can, joining those clubs. And if you know anyone who's coming to see you Denver, or maybe in your hall, like maybe going out to a park, like just going to those places that you can still, be outside. CU Denver, there's a lot of different green spaces, like maybe going for a picnic, maybe getting your class, when you're in there, your first week of classes, maybe suggest to have like a study time where you're all in a park, just kind of like all 6 feet apart, but you can have like a study group where you're still safe, safely social distancing. So there's definitely still options. I think the key is just to make sure that you don't close yourself off. Like really still put yourself out there, especially in those first week of classes, even if they are online. Like still introduce yourself, get the chat going, like especially, just, get to know some of your other classmates and just suggest like maybe meeting up for coffee, and just like finding, some of those benches outside that you can still, be a part, but still keeping everyone safe. So there's definitely still ways to do it. I think the key is you just have to, be a little creative, more creative than we used to be, but it's definitely something, especially as you're starting college, that you still want to make those connections, and it's still going to be possible. And I think if you're living on campus, like Tina and Housing, they're going to make sure those opportunities are available, and your professors too. Your professors are going to make sure that you're still getting that sense of community.
I know one of our student ambassadors, Naomi, she has continued to reside on campus during this, and she regularly, shares her ways of safely social distancing, like she likes to go to Confluence Park, which is really close to campus walking distance, or even because we are downtown, we really got the best of both worlds. You can walk 2 blocks and get into downtown and be near the shops and things like that. Or you could go to Cherry Creek Trail just a block away and, dip your feet in the water while you're reading a book and having a conversation with your friends. There's so many ways, to be creative and to still build those relationships. We do have another question. It says, what's the best way to contact the admissions office? Great question. There's quite a few ways to contact us. We are very, very active. And although we are remote, we are here to support you 100%. So one way is you can give us a ring on the phone. We will be sharing all of our different ways to connect at the end of this presentation. But you can give us a call, you can send us an email, you can follow us on any of our social media platforms. We post every single day and actively have individuals monitoring them. So there's so many different ways to connect. You can even schedule a one-on-one with any of our admissions counselors, myself, our student ambassadors, just to have those conversations in a more personal setting. There's so many different ways to connect. Just know that we are here to support you no matter what. We've got another question. It says, how does CU Denver support their students while going remote? So Tessa, I'll have you start this one off since you had that experience this spring.
Yeah, so right off the bat, they were super supportive. They were understanding with technical issues, and they have a lot of resources. There's the Loving Links Fund. If you're having financial troubles, you can rent laptops. They'll help you figure out Wi-Fi if you need. So on the technological side, they're being as supportive as they possibly can. And then they're also super aware of our students' mental health right now, and the fact that we are, for a really long time, we were very isolated, and it might have been very difficult going back home if people had to travel, and stressful. So they made sure all of our mental health resources were very prominent and accessible. So you can set up meetings with counselors. You can take health screenings, like mental health screenings, and see how you're doing, engage that, and maybe you find something out that you didn't really realize. I took them and I found out I was a lot more stressed than I thought I was. And it gave me different practices that I could use that recommended meditation and working out and talking to people. So they were very much trying to cover all of the bases, because this was a very complex issue when it first sprung out. And I 100% can guarantee they will be just as dedicated this upcoming semester as well.
Thank you for that. Another thing that I love about CU Denver is they don't just look at wellness from one perspective. So for example, our Rob and Lola Salazar Wellness Center, it's built on the 7 dimensions of wellness because they recognize there's so many different foundational pieces that equate to wellness. You know, it's mental wellness and mental health, and your physical wellness, making sure you know how to budget and stretch your financial aid to the end of the term. Everything from physical wellness to making sure, you know, that your heart and your body's healthy, so that way you do have the stamina to be an excellent scholar and student. There's just so many different ways that I feel like CU Denver really looks out for their students. And the professors at CU Denver, they care. They genuinely care about their students. And you can't say that about every university. And I think you definitely could feel that compassion and the caringness of our professors this past semester as we learned from them. We've got another question. Either of you are welcome to answer this one. It is, why do you recommend someone live on campus dorms even if all their classes are online? Alex, I'll let you start this one off.
Yeah, I mean, I would say first and foremost, especially, you know, as you're coming to a new school, like it really just helps you get to know the school better. You're not having to worry about commuting. You're not having to worry about finding parking. Like it gives you more time to really start developing a love for the school and just getting to know more people. Like living on campus, like you're going to get to know, you know, all the people on your floor. You're going to get to know the people, you know, in Links Crossing a lot better, you know, and you know everyone that you're around is also CU Denver students. And so I think it's really something that it just gives you a chance to really enjoy being a college student. It just gives you a chance to explore more because you're going to be, you know, right in the heart of campus. So even though like your classes might be online, it still gives you a chance just to get to know the school and just kind of, you know, find your favorite, you know, maybe tree to go sit under to read your textbook, or it just gives you that chance to be, you know, have campus right at your front door.
Yeah, I was
100%.
Location. Like we are in town, you know. No, even if you aren't attending classes there, like that is the spot to be. So that location. And Tessa, what would you like to add?
No, I was just going to agree with Alex in the fact that it gives you time to focus on your studies and just the things that you don't really prepare for when you're transitioning to college. And it lets you just really focus on the main things instead of, like Alex said, figuring out transportation and feeding yourself because we have dining plans. So it's just kind of, it's the transition period again, where it's kind of like you're easing into it. So I would definitely recommend it. I lived in Links Crossing this past year and I loved it. It was a great experience, really good for first year students.
Thank you so much for that. Alex, this question's for you. Are there any important deadlines coming up that students should be aware of?
Yeah, so our deadline for fall, so if you wanted to apply for fall of 2020, so that deadline is July 31st. So that does still give you a month, but it's also important to know, like, time goes pretty fast during this pandemic. So that month will be here before we know it. So July 31st is definitely something to have in the back of your mind if you're still kind of looking at colleges. If you have already been accepted, I would also kind of keep in mind, just know that kind of the longer you wait to reply to your offer of admission, the longer it will be until you sign up for classes. So the way CU Denver works, we don't have a reservation fee, but what you do is you log back into your applicant status portal. And once you do that reply form, once you hit yes, then you'll be able to sign up for orientation. And at orientation is where you'll be able to sign up for classes. So kind of the longer you wait, you know, the more classes will be filled up. So maybe you have a specific class you want to take your first semester. definitely kind of the earlier you get orientation in, the earlier you can sign up for those classes. I mean, we'll guarantee you'll be able to take a full course load, but just it might not be the classes that you want to take that first semester. So just keep in the back of your mind, the earlier that you pick, the earlier you can sign up for classes. But again, kind of our deadline for fall is July 31st.
July 31st. Put that in your calendar. We've got another question. It says, how is CU Denver offering labs as online courses? I'll start us off with this one. I will say that when they were deciding which classes will be happening in person, hybrid, or remote, one of the highest priorities was placed on those classes that have those hands-on components, as well as for like our senior thesis and capstone projects. So therefore, those will have a higher priority for in-person, but as how those will look in an online format, I know that as our professors are getting this amazing training course that they're going through the summer to really make sure that all of these online platforms are very engaging, I have no doubts that they will, create the most engaging experience as possible. Tessa, do you have anything to add to that?
I was just going to say the same thing, that the labs do have priority over some of our other like lecture style classes. So they'll be trying to get you into those labs and with hands-on activities. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that one.
Tessa, I remember this last semester that you told me you were taking this one class where a professor was just absolutely amazing with how they transitioned online. Do you mind sharing a couple sentences about your experience in that class?
Yeah, so that class was Music Theory 2 with Peter Ellingson. He's great, highly recommend. And he just, it was really refreshing because he kind of just treated it like nothing had happened, except the fact that we were all doing it virtually. But he just kept the content exactly the same. And I could tell he worked really hard to make sure all of his files were uploaded onto his computer. I could tell he did his research on how Zoom works so he could share screen and stuff like that. And like we were talking about earlier, his office hours were all the same. So if we needed to go in, he gave us some extensions on some of our assignments, but most of them stayed exactly the same. So honestly, that was really nice because it helped create a sense of normalcy while we were going through such a crazy time.
Thanks so much for sharing. We've got another question. It says, my daughter is starting in the fall. Does she need to schedule an appointment with an advisor before choosing classes? Alex.
Yeah, so actually at orientation, she'll get the chance to meet with an academic advisor. And so she won't be going in blind, having to pick classes. So she'll have a one-on-one chance with her academic advisor. And then she'll also be with an orientation leader who will also pick her classes. So it's definitely not like we're just going to say, hey, go, like pick your classes. She'll have a lot of help. If you do want to speak with an academic advisor beforehand, you're more than willing to reach out to us in admissions and we can get you in touch with the school or college and just, that she can maybe just start getting an idea. But just know that she will have that chance at orientation to meet with her academic advisor to kind of get all those questions answered and make sure that she's taking the right classes. So
great, thank you. Hello, Nathan, to you as well. It looks like you're taking some fun class this semester. The Black and Latino children, I took that class myself, and I know both the professors who teach it, Professor Sigala as well as Dr. Jefferson, are absolutely phenomenal. So I hope you enjoy that class. It's an amazing class. We've got another question. It says, where can students look to see if they qualify for certain scholarships? Alex, I'll have you start us off, and then Tessa, I'll have you supplement some answers as well.
Yeah, so something to kind of looking forward ahead a little bit. So what we have Scholar Links is kind of our scholarship website. Unfortunately, that did close March 1st for the 2020-2021 school year. So kind of looking ahead, it does open on October 1st. So for the 2021-2022 school year, I definitely go in and do the Scholar Links application, and that will actually automatically kind of match you with scholarships. So basically, you would fill out an essay and you could kind of go through and apply for the scholarships that would best match you that are through CU Denver. So that's kind of CU Denver specific scholarships is through Scholar Links. But then kind of on the other hand, some third-party scholarships. So 3 websites that I know of that have tons of scholarships that are still open. There's fastweb.com, scholarships.com, and igrad.com. All 3 of them are basically just databases filled with scholarships, and you create a profile, and then it will sort it kind of based off of your answers. I know there's scholarships for everything, whether you're left-handed, if you have red hair, like if you're in a certain club or if you're in a certain major. So I would definitely look into those now that we're kind of into summer. There's also Scholarship Universe, which is also another great website. But really kind of for CU Denver specifically, really kind of Scholar Links was our big one. But again, that closed on March 1st. I know there was a few scholarships that were left, but those all closed on June 1st. So I would say kind of look for that for next year. But kind of for this summer, definitely look into those third-party websites, and we'll accept, any of these scholarships that you're getting. If you get, if you get that red-haired scholarship, just make sure you send it to us and we'll, apply it to your tuition bill. But definitely kind of look into those at this point.
And Scholarship is a new thing that we started this last year, and it's vetted by CU Denver. So it's similar to those other platforms you were sharing, Alex, except every single scholarship on that search engine is 100% pre-vetted by CU Denver, and they're not going to sell your contact information, so that's really nice. I know during my time as a student at CU Denver, I was privileged enough to get the Reicher Scholarship through our Scholar Links, that application, but I also applied for external scholarships and was able to study abroad and things like that. So all of those scholarships, just apply, guys. It's so worth it. Tessa.
And for more information about scholarships, you can head over to our CU Denver admissions Instagram page. And we have an IGTV that covers a lot of these options that we just talked about and a few more resources. So I would definitely check that out.
And one thing to mention in relation to deadlines is that typically scholarships, no matter what university you're looking at, those run October through March. So just keep that in mind. That's the scholarship cycle generally. So, but I encourage you to start writing those personal statements now, because then once the scholarships open up, you are ready to press submit and apply for those right away. We've got another question coming in. It says, when does a student run out of financial aid? Great question. So in relation to when does a student run out of financial aid, typically it would be once you are no longer receiving aid, but you also just have to be aware of how you budget things. But thankfully here at CU Denver, we've got an entire department dedicated to financial literacy and financial wellness. So even if you don't know how to budget that just quite yet, we've got staff who are here to help you and support you with that. Tessa, we've got a question about work study, so I'll turn this one over to you. It says, updates about work study and what are work study opportunities during this unprecedented time?
Yeah, so I'm currently on work study and I love it. I think it's one of the best job opportunities you can have as a college student because you are working through the school and they're very flexible with your class schedule. So what we use, mostly how I found this job as a student ambassador, was our job and internship database called Handshake. And so once you get admitted to CU Denver, you'll get those credentials and be able to log in and start finding jobs. I believe, Marcia, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that most of our offices will still be hiring in the fall and spring semesters. That's when they do their main hiring. But yeah, I think it's a great opportunity and you're working with people who understand and really respect the fact that you are a full-time student for the most part. And they will definitely form to what you need.
Very much. And we've got a wide variety of different work study options. Everything from associates at the Wellness Center who help with check-in and check-out to amazing student ambassadors such as Tessa, who are just a wealth of information, even to research opportunities as well, to work in labs or even social type research experiments as well. So there's so many different opportunities, but Handshake it's like the version of LinkedIn for CU Denver. So it's really awesome and I highly recommend that. As soon as you are, you have your portal access, you also have access to Handshake as well. We've got another wonderful question. It says, how can first year students meet fellow first year students? Alex.
Yeah, so something that we have at CU Denver, it's called FYE, so First Year Experience, First Year Initiatives. And so they are an amazing department that is based solely on the first year experience for our students, making sure that you're having those opportunities to meet those first year, different first year students. One of the great ways is signing up for one of their seminars. So they kind of have these different options for classes that are only offered your first semester at CU Denver. And so I would definitely highly encourage you to take one of these classes. So they have, they kind of range. There's a few that are seminar based and they kind of have fun topics. One's like about football in America. There's another one that was like about Vikings. Like there's definitely range the gamut there. They also have some discussion based classes. There's also like a lecture that you can do. So definitely take advantage of one of those, one of the FYE courses, and you can sign up for that at orientation. Well, one, because they're only offered that first semester. So once you're done with your first semester, you can never take them again. So, make sure and take one of those classes. But again, you're going to be with a group of students who are also in their first year. So it's really a great way to kind of meet people. Also living on campus too, living at Links Crossing is another great way to meet first year students, because the majority of students who live at Links Crossing are first year. So that's another great way. I'm trying to think, Tessa, what else do you know of any other ways to meet first students?
I have a question. Is there a cost for FYE courses?
So they are part of, so basically when you're a CU Denver student, so as long as you're taking 12 credits, then you're a full-time student. So kind of any other courses that you're taking, whether you're taking 15 credits, 16 credits, it's all kind of that same amount. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marcia. But kind of once you're past that threshold of being a full-time student, anywhere between 12 and 18 credits, you're kind of charged that same amount. So if you're taking one of these FYE courses for like, that one credit, it's not going to affect your tuition bill at all.
So Tessa, would you like to add some other ways for first year students to meet other first year students?
Yeah, especially this summer. I know it can be hard just because we aren't doing like the in-person activities, but a weird tip, it might seem awkward, but I definitely use this, and I met some people and I had friends going into my freshman year at your new student orientation. Maybe drop your Snapchat in the chat box and just tell people to add you. And that way you can just start to meet people. I know we had a really large group chat from my new student orientation, and then I stuck with a couple of them throughout the year and we became good friends. So I would recommend that. You could also go onto the CU Denver admissions page, see who's following, see who's going to be freshmen, follow them on Instagram. Right now, because we are social distancing, we have to lean towards social media, but those are some fun little tips that you guys could use.
And I do know that our amazing social media coordinator, Grant, that he created a incoming class of 2020 private group on Facebook. So if you're not a part of that group yet, make sure to send a request and we will add you to it. This is an amazing place to get to know other incoming students. And I know a lot of our students are just like kind of sharing a little bit about themselves and then dropping those Snapchat and Instagram handles. And it seems like some really great friendships and even roommates have been formed from that. So I highly recommend that as well. And just to follow up with one thing Alex was mentioning with our FYE courses, if you do have any questions at all, FYE does have an Instagram, and also Emily Wagner is over in FYE, and she is absolutely amazing. She will go above and beyond to help you in any way possible. We do have a couple of students that are just shouting praise for CU Denver. CU Denver is the best. I hope I get admitted. We hope you do too. We can't wait to see you in the city soon. We do have one more question though. This will probably be our last question of the day. And it says, can you explain the difference in different advisors? How is one assigned to advisor and how does one know? So I know from my personal experience, it's typically major based. So whatever school and college you're in, you'll be assigned to an advisor within that school and college. So for an example, mine was the School of Public Affairs. So my advisor worked in the School of Public Affairs. And then they're typically assigned by like the letters of your last name. So based on the alphabet, certain advisors will be assigned individuals. Would you guys like to add anything to that?
Yeah, for me, it's a little bit different. Since I'm in the College of Arts and Media, we first go through the Office of Undergraduate Exploration, I believe it's called. And we start there, and those are like general advisors. So if you are undeclared and you want some guidance on what classes you should start taking, maybe they can help you start to figure out what your passion is, what you might major in. That's where you should start looking for an advisor. But like Marcia said, for most colleges, you'll be assigned one. And then if you still are curious about that, you can actually search on our website. We have an advisor finder, and you can just type in CU Denver, find my advisor, and it'll ask for your major and your college and your last name, and it'll give you exactly who your person is and their contact information.
Thank you so much for that. So as we are coming to an end, I haven't forgotten about our free swag giveaway. So we've got some wonderful beanies for 3 of our participants. How we will be awarding this prize is myself, Alex, and Tessa. We will each choose our favorite question that was asked, and we'll be reaching out to you via your social media handle to contact you about your prize and to get an address to send that special beanie to so you can rock CU Denver's flag. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I've had a great time getting to know you guys more and answering your questions. We are going to be sharing our contact information on the screen. So you are welcome to join us at any time. You're welcome to call us, to message us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, anything at all. We are here to support you. We also do offer sessions every single week, information sessions that tell you a little bit more about the admissions process and kind of just what to expect and things like that. So feel free to register for one of those, and we would love to provide you with some more information. Additionally, you can schedule one-on-one with any of our staff members. So Alex, or even some of our student ambassadors, such as Tessa, you can schedule one-on-one with them and ask them those specific questions in a real personal setting. Additionally, we have Transfer Thursday sessions every single Thursday. So if you are a transfer student and you have more questions about how that transfer process looks, we are here to help you. So please reach out if you guys have any questions at all, and have a beautiful rest of your day.